Wonder working God, you never fail.
Yes, indeed. A miracle working God. That's who he is, and he never fails. It's now 6:36. Make that 6:37 right here on NRP Radio. We thank you very much for staying up with us as you have done over time and always. Keep it locked on this station. And yes, we are going to be having the news this evening. The news is coming up next right here on this station. As I said, it's now 6:37.
It's 6:30 and time for the news on our platforms, nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at nrpmediaja. From the NRP Media Newsroom with our mantra, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. And now, here's your news presenter.
A very pleasant evening to you. Now, welcome to the newscast right here on NRP Radio. It's December 28th, Thursday, and my name is Leon Nash. Here are the headlines. 2 men shot and killed by a joint security team in an operation at several locations in St. Catherine. 3 firearms recovered, along with cash and name brand clothing. Jamaica remains on course to fulfill its 2030 goal of providing sanitation and potable water to all its citizens. Police advises of traffic changes ahead of annual fireworks on the waterfront downtown Kingston, scheduled for Sunday. In sports, Jamaica will be taking part in the newly branded Global Relays at the Penn Relays in Philadelphia next year. The news this evening comes to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. There are no boundaries, no limitations whatsoever. Keep it locked right here on NRP Radio.
Celebrating 3 years since our inception, the NRP brand of radio and other social media platforms on NRP Media JA is your newest online platform accessible for the promotion of your church and community activities, along with news and sports related information. It's the platform you have been longing for. So call us today at 876-336-9928 or email us at nationalreligiousmedia@gmail.com.
NRP Media and Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
I'm going.
And now for the details of the news. Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of the crime portfolio, Fitz Bailey, this afternoon reported that 2 men were shot and killed by a joint security team in an operation at several locations in St. Catherine. He also disclosed that 3 firearms were recovered, along with cash and name brand clothing.
A joint task force conducted a major anti-gang operation at several locations within the parish of St. Catherine, during which members of the vicious Clans gang were taken into custody. During this operation, Human McFarlane OC Max, aged 29 years old, laborer of Leslie Plain, St. Catherine, challenged the security forces and was fatally shot, and 3 firearms recovered, along with a quantity of ammunition. In addition, a motor vehicle, cash, luxury items, and name brand clothing estimated to value about $3 million were also seized at a location in Old Harbour, St. Catherine. Today's operation culminated a 9-month-long investigation led by the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Branch, CTOC, which resulted in a series of arrests over the period. To date, 31 members of the gangs have been taken into custody. These persons arrested are being held for several offenses, which include murders and shootings. This particular investigation focused on the section of the gang under the direction of the incarcerated leader, Tesha Miller, OC Hombre of De La Vega City, Spanish Town, St. Catherine.
That was DCP Bailey reporting today that one man was shot and killed by a joint security team in an operation at several locations in St. Catherine. And the Klansman gang, they had also taken into custody several men who are wanted for different crimes in the parish. We'll have more in our break of the newscast at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, says that Jamaica remains on course to fulfill its 2030 goal of providing sanitation and potable water to all its citizens. Senator Samuda, who toured the rural districts of Lime Bottom, Shaw Park Road, Mall Road, as well as nearby environs in St. Anne, Northeastern, on December 22, said it is against this background why the government is spending millions, or that should be billions of dollars, targeting thousands of households, ensuring that water distribution is done in a regularized manner. According to Senator Samuda, the government has invested roughly $24 million in the water distribution line to serve over 800 people who have never had access to any formal water system. The minister added that he is pleased to see the joy on the faces of each resident because of the project. Senator Samuda noted that the project is part of the NWC's thrust to extend its network and to bring more reliable water supplies to several areas that historically had no formal water supply. He pointed out that prior to the implementation of the project, residents on several roads opted to install informal connections at numerous points of the NWC mains. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is appealing to licensed firearm holders to desist from illegal and dangerous practice of gun salutes to ring in the new year. Under Section 51(2) of the Firearms Prohibition, Restriction, and Regulations Act 2022, the penalty for engaging in gun salutes is a fine of up to $3 million or imprisonment for up to 3 years. Head of the JCF Corporate Communications Unit, Senior Superintendent of Police, SSP Stephanie Lindsay, informed a recent JIS think tank that in addition to being a criminal offense to discharge a weapon within 40 yards of a gathering and a public thoroughfare, the act could cost persons their lives. She reminded that in the midst of alcohol consumption and irresponsible behavior, people lose their lives because of an action that should never happen. SSP Lindsay says the citizens are being reminded early so that they can consider their actions so that they can avoid an arrest or charge with murder. SSP Lindsay further urged firearm holders to be responsible in the handling, storage, and use of their weapons when attending social events or New Year's Eve celebrations this weekend. And the police are advising that traffic changes will be made in preparation of hosting the annual fireworks on the waterfront downtown Kingston, which will be hosted by the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, on Sunday, December 31. At 4 p.m. on Sunday, December 31, the following intersections, including Port Royal Street, will be closed: Church Street, King Street, Orange Street, Princess Street, West Street, Pecon Street, and also Ocean Boulevard. Two-way traffic will, however, be permitted as follows to facilitate entrance and exit to and from parking areas only from the intersection of Church Street and Port Royal Street to JCC Multi-Story Car Park, the intersection of Orange Street and Port Royal Street to Orange Street Multi-Story Car Park, intersection of Princess Street and Port Royal Street to Digital Car Park, the intersection of West Street and Port Royal Street to West Street Car Park. The UDC will be enacting a park and ride system where transportation is or will be provided to and from the venue. And patrons are also being advised that no large backpacks will be allowed within the area. During the staging of the annual fireworks on the waterfront, hundreds of persons usually converge along the Palisadoes main road to view the fireworks. This often leads to traffic congestion and disruption to the traffic flow along that corridor. In order to mitigate against the risk, the police will implement the following measures. No parking will be allowed along the right side of the Norman Manley Highway leading to the airport. Controlled parking will be at designated locations on the left side only. No vending will be allowed along the strip. There will be strict enforcement of the Road Traffic Act, and motorists are being asked to comply with the instructions of the police. Lawmen assigned to the Mandeville Police Department or the police station arrested and charged 25-year-old O'Shane Clark, otherwise called Boom Boom, of Savoy District, Manchester, with the murder of 24-year-old Stephen McLaughlin, otherwise called Rice Bag, and the injuring of another man along Main Street in the parish on Saturday, December 23. Clark has also been charged with wounding with intent. Reports are that about 1 a.m. an argument developed between the three men, and this was followed by an altercation. When the dust settled, McLaughlin and the other man was stabbed several times all over their bodies by Clark. Both men were taken to hospital where McLaughlin was pronounced dead, and the other man treated and later released. Clark was arrested during a police operation and interviewed in the presence of his attorney, where he was charged with the offense. His court date is being finalized. And we jump on over to sports, and we tell you that the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, J3As, has confirmed that Jamaica will be taking part in the newly branded Global Relays at the Penny Relays in Philadelphia next year. Fans attending the 128th staging of the Penny Relays were gifted with the news just recently that there would be a return of the international event, which was formerly dubbed the USA versus the World Relay. The news follows the return of the World Relays in the Bahamas, which takes place a week after the Penny Relays inside Franklin Stadium from April 25 to 27, and in a year when the Olympic Games in Paris is the most eye-catching sporting event of the year. 12 countries have already indicated wishes to compete in the meet, where the 4x100 and the 4x400 meters, men's and women's relays, would be contested. President of the J3As, Garth Gale, says he has high expectations as Team Jamaica would have participated in the Penny Relays and is once again doing so to give the athletes the opportunity to sharpen their skills in the relay events. He also said that the team performed well in the past, and the expectation is that they will continue along that path. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any person or event whose good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmedia@gmail.com, or you can call 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now for the latest international news coming to you straight out of the United States of America. Of course, the VOA with the international news for us, and we are always appreciative of having them bringing this information to us. Let's join them now.
This is VOA News. I'm Alexis Strope. The United Nations has warned of impeded aid deliveries as Israel expands its offensive in Gaza. AP correspondent Karen Shamus reports.
Palestinians knock tent pegs into the ground as they erect their new homes on a small open plain in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Fleeing from fighting and airstrikes, they have packed into areas along Gaza's border with Egypt and the coastline, where shelters and tent camps are overflowing. The UN's Humanitarian Office says the scale and impact of the fighting is hampering deliveries of much-needed aid to civilians. A displaced man from Gaza City tells the AP, "Why is there no food or drink? Here we're sitting without a cup or water." The Israeli military's air and ground offensive against Hamas has widened to most of the territory. Israel says it's striking militant targets, though homes full of people are regularly crushed. I'm Karen Shamas.
The U.S. is imposing sanctions on a group of money exchange services from Yemen to Turkey alleged to be providing funds to Iranian-backed Houthi rebels who have been launching attacks on commercial shipping vessels in the southern Red Sea. The sanctions imposed Thursday target the head of a financial intermediary in Sana'a, Yemen, and 3 exchange houses in both Yemen and Turkey. Authorities in Liberia say a leaking fuel tanker exploded this week as people gathered to collect the gasoline, leaving more than 40 dead. Officials say the blast on Tuesday also injured at least 83 people in the town of Totota in the central part of the West African country. One health official says many of the dead were buried in a mass grave because their remains were unrecognizable. Health authorities say an exact death toll was difficult to confirm because of how badly the bodies were burned. Similar deadly accidents have occurred elsewhere in Africa. You'll find expanded coverage of world news and events at our website, voanews.com. 24 hours a day. This is VOA News.
Thank you very much for the latest there from the VOA as we continue to bring news to you 6:30 in the mornings and 6:30 in the evenings. Join us again in our next newscast where we'll have another report from the VOA for you. Let's now pause for the weather. The National Met Service is reporting that there is a significant feature of a prefrontal trough across Jamaica. The trough is expected to remain through to tomorrow. Thereafter, a cold front is expected to impact the island, bringing increased cloudiness, showers, and cooler temperatures. 24-hour forecast tonight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy across sections of southern parishes and hilly areas. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, isolated showers mainly across northern parishes and hilly areas. In the 3-day forecast after tomorrow, Saturday through to Monday, on Saturday, expect isolated showers and likely thunderstorms mainly across northern parishes. Widely scattered afternoon showers are likely, and likely thunderstorms across most parishes are also to be expected. Lingering showers into the night, cool and windy, especially across the northern parishes. On Sunday, expect cloudy conditions in the morning with periods of showers and likely thunderstorms across northern parishes. Isolated afternoon showers mainly across northeastern parishes. Partly cloudy elsewhere and cool and windy, especially across northern parishes. On Monday, expect cloudy conditions with periods of morning showers, mainly across northeastern parishes. Partly cloudy elsewhere. In terms of other current regional weather features, a cold front is in the northwestern Caribbean, a secondary cold front in the Gulf of Mexico, and there's an area of low pressure within the Straits of Florida. That's the latest report and forecast in the NRP Evening News Roundup. And with that, we've come to the end of our news presentation this evening. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. One man shot and killed by a joint security team in an operation at several locations in St. Catherine. 3 firearms recovered along with cash and name brand clothing as the joint security team made their way through the parish of St. Catherine after the Klansman gang. Jamaica remains on course to fulfill its 2030 goal of providing sanitation and potable water to all its citizens. Police advises of traffic changes ahead of annual fireworks on the waterfront downtown Kingston, scheduled for Sunday. And in sports, Jamaica will be taking part in the newly branded Global Relays and the Penn Relays in Philadelphia next year. The full information package came to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Here is your invitation to join us again tomorrow morning at 6:30 for the NRP Break of Day newscast. Join this growing team, join this growing medium, feel fulfilled and informed. I am Leon Nash for NRP News and wishing for you a good rest of your evening. And a reminder that you need to come back with us tomorrow morning at 6:30, as we said before, for the news at that time. That time we'll have more updates from the police and the DCP Bailey. Good evening.
That was the news on our platforms, nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at NRP Media JA. From the NRP Media Newsroom, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.